This is Graceful Media Solutions YouTube channel. Today we will be designing this flyer together in Adobe Photoshop. So the first thing we need to do is to create a new document. So I head on to File and Create and click New. Now we're going to be using a dimension of 1080 pixels by 1080 pixels. That is, we want to create a square dimension flyer. So just follow my settings. I'm going to give it a name. You are free to give your flyer a name of your choice. The flyer. No, I'm just going to call mine birthday flyer. Now under resolution, I'm going to use 300 because I want my designs to be really sharp. Now color mode, I leave without RGB because I don't want to print it, and I leave other settings the way they are and go ahead and click create. And these are the assets that I'm using for our project, so I'll leave the link to where you can get them in the description of this video. So the next thing we're going to do is to set up our backgrounds. So I'm going to come to where I have this option to create a new layer, and then I click solid color. So we're going to give the solid color of black and click OK. Okay, so next up I'm also going to give it a gradient layer. So I'm going to also come down to go back to fill and adjustment layer, and I'm going to go to gradient. Okay, so the gradient I'm selecting is going to be from, okay, let me zoom out. The gradient I'm going to select, I'll go to basics, and then I'm going to choose from color to transparent, which is what we're seeing right here. So I'm going to click this, change this to a black. So it's going to be from black to transparent, and I'm going to click OK. Let's see. Okay, now you can reverse it if you want. Yeah, can click this reverse to okay, click OK first. Now you can reverse this if you want, but I'll just leave mine the way it is, and I click OK. So next up, I'm going to bring in my background. So I go to File, Place Embed. Okay, let me just do it another way. So I go to the folder where my assets are. Now I'm going to bring in this sunburst image. So I'm going to desaturate this image. Alright, there are a couple of ways to desaturate images in Photoshop. Okay, but I'm just going to use a shortcut by pressing, if you're using a Windows PC, Ctrl Shift, Ctrl Shift U, and then I'm going to drag it into my work area, expand it to fill up the canvas. Okay, then I'm going to change the blend mode. So this is where we have our blend modes, right? I'm gonna change it to, let me leave it at overlay. So you can just keep adjusting the blend mode till you see what works for you, but I think overlay works pretty well for me. Alright, so I'm going to let me extend this a bit, something like this. Alright, and then I'm going to select where I have, let me rename this layer. I'm going to call this sunburst image. Now it's good practice to always rename your layers, right? So I'm going to reduce the opacity of this sunburst image layer. This is where I have my opacity, so I'm going to click this to take the slider backwards. So as you can see, as I reduce it, the object, the background fades into my gradient layer already. So I'm also, let me take this, let me adjust this gradient layer a bit, take it up, something like this. Perfect. Okay, and then I'm also going to brush off a part of this image. So I'm going to create a layer mask. Take my brush tool by pressing the letter B on the keyboard, and just let me reduce the size of the brush. Let me just brush it off slightly. Alright, I think this is okay for now. I'll press V to drop my brush tool. Now I'm going to group all these elements and I'm going to call it background. So I'm going to hold my shift key, click the first layer and the next layer, press Ctrl G to group, and I'm going to call it background. That's BG. Just say BG for short. Alright. So next up, I'm going to bring in my image once again. Let's go to our folder. We'll have our assets. I'm going to drag this into Photoshop. And then I'm going to rename this, call it image. So next up, I'm going to create a layer mask for this because I want to brush off part of this image. Now I made a video on this channel showing you how you can brush off, smoothly fade parts of an image into a background. Okay, that video would be in the description or as a pinned, the pinned comment section. So I'm going to take my brush tool, press letter B on the keyboard. Now ensure that your foreground color is set to black and ensure that your foreground color is black and your white color is behind, that's your background. So because black color hides and white color reveals, so I'm just going to slowly brush off this image. Take it up like this. Let me zoom out. Okay, take it up. Okay, something like this. Then let me reduce this brush a bit, so that I can take off part of the hair. Alright, so to ensure that the image is crisp and sharp. Alright, so once you're satisfied with the level of how you faded your image, you press the letter V to drop your brush to. Now I noticed that the image is a bit should I say washed, dull. So I'm going to just work on this image a bit, and I'll do that by going to my filter and go to camera raw filter. Now I made a video on my channel showing you how you can use AI to retouch your images, right? If you don't know how to use Camera Raw or Lightroom, you want to use a free AI platform. I'll also leave that video in the description of this video as well, how you can use AI to retouch your images. Right, so I'm just going to touch on the let's go with contrast. Let's add more contrast because I want the colors to pop. And I think the exposure is cool. Texture, right? Put more blacks. Yeah. Okay, I think the highlight is perfect for me. I didn't need to touch that. Let me put a bit more vibrance. Touch up the saturation. Okay, reduce the saturation a bit. Okay, make this 3. Alright, I think I'm satisfied with that. Click OK. Okay, let me make it brighter a bit. Ctrl M, bring out my layers option. Okay, let's see. Yes, perfect. Okay, let me just my gradient layer, let me take it down a bit so it doesn't. Alright, so we're good. Okay, so next up I'm going to start adding my text. Right, I'm going to group this and call it the image. Alright, so I'm going to add let me start with the main text. Right, so I'm going to bring that in. Now I used AI to design this text. If you want to see a video on how you can use artificial intelligence to recreate 3D text, right, let me know in the comment section. So I'm going to convert that to a smart object and just resize it to occupy this space here. Okay, this is perfect. Right, so I think this is cool. Okay, so I'm going to add another text. Let's just expand this further. So I'm going to add text, take my text and type in the word mama. Let me use a cursive font for this. Okay, I use Betty Lavia for that. And I'm going to expand this. Then I'm going to change this to white. Come to my properties panel. I'm going to change this to white. And then I'm going to Ctrl T to transform this layer. Right click and I'm going to select skew. Just adjust it up a bit. Right. Okay, so I think this is coming together now. So I'm going to group this. Let me just group this and call it birthday text. Okay, so next up I'm going to take my rectangle to my ellipse tool. And then I'm going to go to the properties panel right here. I'm going to ensure it's set to no fill, and then I'm going to give it the border, the outer, let me give it 3 pixels. Okay, I'm going to change the color to something like a lemon color. Give this. Okay, let me use this first. I'm going to change it much later. All right, and I'm going to add the text 6th February. I'm changing this to a century Gothic. Okay, let me go for century Gothic bold. Or should I use a light? Let me change this to century, the regular. Now you can just tweak it to use any particular weight or font you like, but I think I prefer the regular typeface. Okay, let me reduce the, yes, okay, better. And then I'm going to duplicate this, change it to February. resize it to fit into the ellipse like this. Alright, so I'm going to group this and call it date. Alright, so next up I'm going to start adding another set of text on the side here. So I'm going to bring in okay, I'm going to bring in this icon. Okay, for some reasons it's not bringing. Okay, let me import it. Go to File, Place Embed. And then I'm going to resize it. Okay, I'm going to change the color of this to, I want a bright, something like a brighter green color. So I'm going to go to gradient and go to blending options, and then I'm going to go to color overlay. We select a lighter green, like a lemon color. Okay, something like this. I think it's fine. Alright, so I'm going to use the same color code for the ellipse. So because when you're designing, you ensure that you don't use too many different colors. So I'm going to change the color of this ellipse to the same color I used for the icon a while ago, which is this one. Perfect. Let me just reduce the size of this a bit. Perfect. So I'm going to add some text on the side. Okay, here. I'm going to duplicate this into 4. Now you can duplicate by holding your Alt key, Ctrl Z. Hold the Alt key, click and drag. Click and drag. Click and drag. Alright, perfect. Now I'm going to group this and call it icon, tick icon. Now I'm going to take my text tool. I'm going to open up the document file. I'm going to copy this. Hold Ctrl Z. Okay. And then go to Photoshop. Okay, I'm going to change this to bold, Gothic centric Gothic bold. Okay, perfect. Yes, I'm going to go back to my text tool, copy this one. Go back to my text tool, duplicate this one, duplicate this one. Okay, I'm going to change this to a hairpin. So just follow my process. If you've got any question, you can leave them in the comment section of this video. And if you are finding value from this video, of course, you know what to do. Give the video a like, and of course subscribe to my channel, because I make these videos these design videos every week. And of course, you can join our Telegram community where we have a group of like-minded people to share and to bond as designers or would-be designers. Now, I have an upcoming free training for those who are interested in becoming graphic designers. All right, I have a free training coming up. I'll leave the details in my Telegram community, so ensure you're part of that. All right, so I'm going to group these and call it texts. Once again, the resource files, the link to download them will be in the description of this video. So ensure you download the resource files and practice along. And of course, connect with me on social media and let me see what you were able to design. And also, you can also drop your designs in our Telegram community because we do a lot of design reviews in that community as well. All right, so I'm going to add okay, let me group this and select the image and just take it to the side a bit. So I'm going to bring in one more thing. I'm going to bring in this icon. Okay, let me just open it in Photoshop. For some reasons, I don't know what's going on here. Probably it's because of the screen recorder I'm using. Some of the features on my laptop don't seem to be working at the moment. So I'm going to resize this and give it a, I'm going to also give it the same color as I did for the ellipse. I'm going to go to blending options, color overlay, select the same color, Control T to transform. I'm going to rotate it, okay, just rotate it once more like so. Okay, let me rotate it a bit. Perfect. And I'm going to type in the name of the client. Okay, let me go with this one first. Let me choose a Century Gothic regular. Just resize it. And duplicate this. Okay. Let me reduce this. Oh, what's going on? What's going on here? What's going on? All right, I think we're good. So if you're finding value from this video, please give this video a like and of course subscribe to my channel. Now, liking my video would help to you supporting my channel, and also you also ensure that more people get to see this amazing content. All right, so go ahead, smash the like button, and of course turn on the notifications. All right, so I'm going to call this, I'm going to group this, and I'm going to call it name. All right, so I'm going to Control T to transform this. Right click, and I'm going to select skew. I'm just going to adjust this a bit. Perfect. Okay, so one more thing. I think our designs is pretty cool. All right, so one more thing, I'm going to come to back to the background and increase the opacity of this. I want it to be a bit let's increase the opacity of this a bit. All right, Now next step, I'm going to add the text on top. I'm going to take my text tool. I'm going to start this. So I'm going to say the Queen. All right, and then I'm going to select, okay, let me reduce the text, and then I'm going to increase the tracking. Come to my properties bar right here, go to this, let me increase it further. Okay, so I'm going to take it down. Perfect. All right, so I think we're good. So one final thing, let me just group this. Okay, group, let me take it to the top. So I think our design is cool. So one final thing, I'm going to give it, make our design come up really sharp. I'm going to select all the layers, merge them, and just do the final adjustment in camera raw. So I'm going to hold Ctrl Shift Alt E to merge them, and then I'm going to select the layer I just merged and go to my camera raw filter, and then go to camera raw. So let me just do, so I just want to do a quick touch up of the completed project just to make it pop. Yeah, so I'm going to go to detail, just make it sharp a bit. Where's that again? Edit. Okay, basic, yeah. Give it more contrast. So as you can see, there's so much. So doing this last step would make your final project to really come alive. Do I need shadow? Can I put in more shadows? Put a bit more saturation in the final project. Put a little bit of texture. I think it's pretty okay. It's okay. So I think this is done. Our flyer is ready. So now let me show you how to export, right? So if you want to export your if you want to correctly export your videos, your project, I made a video on my channel showing you the right way to export your videos for social media, right? So I'll leave that video in the description as well, or in just at the top. Okay, so how you can correctly export your videos, how to correctly export your designs, your project to, okay, for social media, right? So just go ahead and watch that video, right? So let me just go and do the final export, right? So that my design should be crisp and sharp. And then I'm going to save my project, right? And I'm going to call it, just click save, I'm done. All right, so this is the final project. As you can see, our design where the flyer is really crisp and sharp. So if you found this useful, please like this video, and of course if you want more design content like this, yes, don't fail to let me know in the comment section, and of course let me know the next project you want me to work on. And of course, if you want to join our Telegram community, an amazing community where we do a lot of design reviews and give a lot of prompts, AI prompts, free AI prompts and design resources. So the link to join will be in the description of this video as well. So thanks for watching. Please like, share and subscribe. See you in my next video.